Welcome back to In the Kitchen, and tonight on the dessert menu is flan. Now what you're going to need for this recipe is a small saucepan and some sugar. You're going to need eggs, evaporated milk, condensed milk, cream of coconut or coconut cream, Goya, and some vanilla extract, and also some cream cheese. And the last thing on the list you're going to need is a bigger pot, because we're going to be baking this flan on the stovetop and not in the oven. You'll need something that'll lift up your flan so it's not laying right on the base, because we're going to be adding water into this pot that's just going to go about halfway up whatever we're going to put in there. Then you're going to need a lid. Now let's get started on getting that flan all set up. Now the first thing we want to do is get the sugar melted. Now I did move it over to this bigger burner. I don't have a lot of patience to just wait and wait and wait. So I put the temperature up a little bit, but I'm going to stay right here and make sure that I don't let this scald. Alright, this is nice and golden brown, and we just need to make sure that all those little lumps are out. Just take your time, don't rush it, just make sure that it's nice and smooth. Beautiful, right? Alright, now that we've got this all melted, we're going to put it into our pan. Now be very, very careful. I've already touched this by mistake, and this is like hot oil. You can get burned pretty bad, so make sure that while you're moving it around too, that you're using something to protect your hands, because this definitely will heat the pan up pretty quickly. And what we're trying to do is get all of the sides and all of the bottom coated really well. All right, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and put something under it because I don't want it cracking my counter. Now, while we're waiting for this to harden up, we're going to make the filling. The first thing we're going to do is put in the whole can of evaporated milk. Then we're going to do a half a can of condensed milk. A little bit more. All right. Then we're going to add in a half a can of the cream of coconut, and we got to mix that up. You want it nice and smooth to go in there. All right, that looks a lot better. Now we need a half a can. All right, that'll do. We're going to add in our cream cheese, and that's 4 ounces. We're going to add in a half of cap of some vanilla. All right, now we need to add in our eggs, and I'm going to crack those in a separate bowl. Now that that's nice and smooth, we want to make sure there's no lumps. So the perfect thing to do is to pour it through a strainer. And now we're ready to bake it. You want to make sure and cover it nice and tight. Now just be very careful so that you don't tip it. Make sure that everything is sealed. Remember, we have the bottom that's lifting it up. I already have some water in there. It'll go about halfway up. Take your time. Make sure it's setting level. All right, now we're going to put on the fire, and we're going to get that to a rolling boil, but not a strong boil, just so that it's going to create the heat and the steam that we need to bake this custard. All right, I'm going to put the lid on it so we can get that heat up. All right, now that this is boiling, I didn't want it too strong of a boil. Remember I said, so I turned it down a little bit just so that it's bubbling and being consistent. Now it's going to go for an hour, and I want to make sure that that water doesn't evaporate too much. So I'm going to keep checking back, and if I have to add some hot water into it, I'll go ahead and do so. But pretty excited about waiting for that flan to come out. All right, it's been an hour. Now we're ready to take this off of the heat. We're going to turn this off. Take the lid off. Move it off of that hot burner. I'm going to let it cool for just a little bit so that I can get my hands in there, lift it out, and get it over onto the counter. I gotta get this out of here. It's cooled a little bit, so hopefully I can do this easy enough. All right, we got it out. We're gonna move it over to the counter. All right, now what we need to do is let this cool down, and once this is cooled completely, then we're going to go ahead and invert it onto a plate and remove it from its mold. All right, it's been a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And if you see if you have a little bit too much moisture, you can easily take a paper towel and just dab it. But you want to make sure that when you put a knife in, it comes out clean. It does. So it's ready. We just have to let this cool completely, and then we're going to go ahead and invert it. All right, it's been about 45 minutes, and this is cool enough that I can go ahead and take it out. I'm pretty excited for the reveal. All right. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is make sure that if you see it's by the edge, that you take a knife and go around the edge, but I don't have to because I can see that it's all pulled away from there. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Oh my goodness. That looks great. I am very pleased with how this came out. Now, let's give it a taste. All right, we're just going to cut a little piece. Oh my word. Look at that. I can't wait to taste it. Is that not magnificent? All right, let's take a little bite so you guys can see. It's just the right sweetness, and that custard is so smooth. This is at the top of my list for favorite desserts. You gotta try it. One more. It's good, guys. It's good. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this recipe with your friends. We'll see you on the next video.